Hey everyone, I'm Alex. Thanks for clicking and welcome to this lesson on what to say instead of I don't understand when you are having a conversation with someone and you didn't hear what they said or you really didn't understand what they said either because the concepts were too complex or the vocabulary was, more than you know. So, I want to state right at the beginning, this is meant to be an encouraging video. Of course, you will say, I don't understand. I say, I don't understand all the time. But what I'm doing in this video is providing you with more tools, more phrases that you can use for a variety of situations, okay? So hopefully you find this video useful. Let's not waste any more time and begin. Now, if you really just didn't hear what the person said, maybe because they spoke in a low volume, you're in a loud place, or you didn't really hear what they said because the vocabulary they used, they used a word in the middle that you didn't understand, and sometimes all you hear is that one word and you forget and don't pay attention to the rest of the sentence. So, very simple, polite, instead of saying, I don't understand, you can say, sorry. Now, sorry can work by itself. You could just say, sorry, okay? Or you can start with, sorry, I missed that. Like, I missed it. I didn't hear it, or I didn't get what you said. And I'll get to that one later. In addition to, I missed that, you can say, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that, right? So I missed it. I didn't catch it. I didn't get that. Sorry, I didn't get that. Okay. Next, very honest. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, so they were speaking too low. Maybe they were speaking really quickly. Maybe you're in a loud room. I didn't hear you. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Next, sorry, I didn't follow that. So again, to follow. So someone is speaking and they start on a track of conversation, and ideally you should be walking beside them in the conversation, but sometimes you don't understand because their reasoning is very weird or doesn't make sense, or maybe you didn't hear that and you say, sorry, I didn't follow that. Next, sorry, I don't follow. I don't follow. That just means you're admitting that I don't know what you're saying, basically. Usually I don't follow refers to the logic that the person is using in their speech, in their conversation. So if they're talking about a complex topic, maybe they're talking about genetics and they're trying to explain something to you. You have no background in genetics and you look at them like, sorry, I don't follow. Okay? I don't follow. Sorry, I'm not following. So all three of these, I didn't follow that. I don't follow. Sorry, I'm not following. Okay? And you can also say, sorry, what was that? Okay, so what was that? It really goes back to you didn't hear them properly or they said a word that you missed. Okay? What was that? Or, sorry, what did you just say? Okay, so again, maybe you weren't paying attention, your mind was in a different place, and they say something to get your attention, and you say, sorry, what did you just say? Okay, all right, next, when you're listening and, sometimes you are not paying attention, you can admit fault, right? You can admit that, sorry, I wasn't listening. Now, if you say this to your wife or your husband, it's probably a bad idea, but they say honesty is the best policy. So sometimes you might just want to admit and say, sorry, I wasn't listening. My mind was in a different place, or I had my headphones on and my podcast was more interesting than your conversation. Don't say that part, but I wasn't listening. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So this could be in a classroom setting, And, very few students will admit that they weren't paying attention to their teacher, but this is something you can say, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So maybe you are in a group setting with like 6 friends, 5 friends around a table, and your friends are talking about something, and they say, Karen, what do you think? And Karen's looking at her phone. Huh? Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What? Okay. Or, sorry, my mind was elsewhere. Or my mind was somewhere else. So you can say elsewhere. This just means somewhere else. Not here. My mind was in a different place. Okay? So you can admit that you weren't paying attention, that you weren't listening, or that your mind was, you were thinking about lunch later or something. Next. If you didn't hear something or you didn't understand something, but you're interested, or even if you're not interested, you still want to know what the person said, you can ask for repetition. Ask people to repeat, okay? So, here we go. Could you repeat that, please? Okay. Could you say that again? Want to run that by me one more time? And I realized I didn't spell repetition correctly. Okay, so you are seeing like a live correction on air over here. How do you spell it? Repetition. Yes, just like that. All right, so we paused the video and now we unpause the video. We're back. So could you repeat that, please? Could you say that again? Want to run that by me one more time? So run that by me one more time. This is an idiomatic question, an idiomatic way to ask someone to repeat something. So wanna, it's like, do you want to or can you? So it depends on your familiarity with the person, how comfortable they are with you and you are with them before you say something like this. But want to run that by me one more time? Like, here are your words. They're running. Vroom. Can you run them by me one more time so I can catch them? Okay. Next, some casual ways. If you're familiar with the people that you're hanging out with, if you're friendly with them, if you have a good relationship with them and you feel comfortable to be casual, to be yourself, to not be formal, you can use some of these. So, blah, 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 blah. Hold on. What? Okay, so hold on means like stop or wait. And you can just say, what? So repeat after me. Hold on. What? Okay, next. Wait, what? So again, hold on, what? Or wait, what? Say it fast. Wait, what? Okay, good. Whoa, slow down. If the person is speaking very quickly, you might want to ask them to slow down. You can give one whoa, or you can give many whoas, right? So you can say, whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down, okay? If you are very comfortable with the person, what the heck are you talking about? Okay, so you just don't understand what they're saying because of their argument is strange, or they started talking about something with no context and you are lost. So another one, you can say, whoa, I'm lost. What's happening? What the heck are you talking about? So heck is a more neutral way to say hell, right? Hell is a little stronger. What the hell, what the heck are you talking about? You can also just say, stop right there. Okay, so sometimes you don't care what they're talking about because you're like, I don't understand why this is important. I don't understand the argument. I don't understand why you're talking about this. So stop right there. And similar to what the heck are you talking about? I have no clue what you're saying. I have no idea what you're saying. Okay, so you are just admitting in a casual situation, like, I I don't know what you're talking about. So I have no clue what you're saying. I don't understand it, okay? And finally, you can clarify, right? So instead of saying you don't understand what a person is saying, maybe they use a word or they use an argument, and you say, well, wait a minute. What did you mean by that? What did you mean by that word? Or what did you mean by that argument? And finally, to clarify, this is also a form of asking for repetition, but could you repeat the last part again? Okay, I just want to make sure I got what you said. I just want to clarify that I understand your argument. So you heard what they said, right? But you just want to make sure that you understand it 100%. Could you repeat the last part again? You can also say, could you repeat the last thing you said? Those are all possible. So one more time, you can say sorry. And so just repeat one more time everything after me. I missed that. I didn't catch that. I didn't get that. I didn't hear you. I didn't follow that. I don't follow. I'm not following. What was that? What did you just say? I wasn't listening. I wasn't paying attention. My mind was somewhere else. Could you repeat that, please? Could you say that again? Wanna run that by me one more time? And now the fun stuff. Hold on, what? Wait, what? Whoa, 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 slow down. What the heck are you talking about? Stop right there. I have no clue what you're saying. What did you mean by that? Could you repeat the last part again? Hopefully now you have a lot more tools in your English vocabulary toolbox that you can now use in your future English conversations. So, I don't understand is one of the first phrases anyone learns in a new language, but time to level up. So hopefully you did that today. And if you want to make sure that you consolidate everything that we studied here today, check out the quiz on engvid.com to check your learning. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check me out on Facebook and on Twitter. And if you can afford it, please consider making a donation to engVid, if you can. So, till next time, thanks for clicking, and I hope things are a lot clearer for you now.